So, hi everyone, and welcome to this session of the Thriving Families Africa Summit. Today, we are unpacking a conversation that speaks directly to the heart of the Kenya's Gen Z revolution. So, parents, Gen Zs, please gather here because this is going to be a very interesting conversation. Because, Gen Z now, the generation that is pushing for justice, resilience, and just new ways of engaging with society. And what better person to join us for this conversation than Elvis Sitati, who is a visionary techpreneur, an environmentalist, and a social entrepreneur. Elvis is the founder and CEO of the Uamuzi Foundation. This is a pioneering social enterprise using technology and data to empower youth. You're right at the heart of the conversations around Gen Z. So, and you not only empower youth, but women and persons with disability. That's a really wide spectrum. At the heart of this work is the Uamuzi Civic Tech platform, which bridges the gap between citizens and leaders, creating safe spaces for engagement and decision making. Beyond entrepreneurship, Elvis is a passionate advocate for youth empowerment, leading mentorship and leadership initiatives in universities and communities. Elvis's work continues to inspire young people to embrace innovation, civic responsibility, and resilience in the face of pressure. Elvis, we are so glad to have you here with us.
The pleasure is all mine. And thank you so much for also having me.
Sure. Thank you for saying yes to this conversation.
Anything to do with the youth, I'm really passionate. And, whenever I get a chance to just, they say whenever you are able to impact just one person,
right,
it's better than, just doing nothing. So I'd rather change one person's mindset through such engagement. Than just staying with my knowledge and also my experience.
Yeah. And today, I'm sure you will change many, not just one, with this conversation. So let's just jump in and just start with sharing your personal story. What drew you into the social justice and advocacy space? Because it's a very vibrant space for Gen Zs right now.
Yep. Maybe I'll start by, whenever I tell people about my innovation and I tell people about my journey, the first thing they tell me is, you're very passionate about this, but what drives you? So maybe I'll just give you a background context, a bit of it. So for me, I was born and raised in Eldoret, where you school.
Yes.
And and it's unfortunate that we moved from Eldoret because of what happened in 2007, 2008, that is the post-election violence. So one thing that really saved us, for me, I'm Luya, and living in Eldoret, one thing that saved us is we were living in a community, and this community had different tribes, but also we had really powerful Kales who are now within our communities. So when post-election violence started, when the young people were passing, going to fight with the other tribes and what have you, they were passing on our fence. So, just seeing it, being a young person, seeing it, I was really traumatized. And it got to a point, it was so bad that even at night when we were sleeping, we used to sleep fully clothed, like you sleep with a t-shirt, sweater, jacket, jeans, and shoes, just in case, in case they decide to attack you. And also we had even put we had opened up a place on our fence where just in case it happens, there's a place where we can run away from. So, with the time, I never knew this had at all on me until when I decided to now start this whole Uamuzi project. And me starting it is also another whole different idea. So when I decided to start it all, I realized that this is something that I'm trying to change what happened. Because, being traumatized with what happened, I realized that I don't want people, especially young people, to go through what I went through. And the first thing that we have to do is changing the mindset of our people, and also just being able to bring about value-based leadership. And that's the reason why I'm really passionate, because I know that if we are to talk about change, then change has to start from within us, and also change has to start from as young as possible, because it's through changing the mindset of young people, it's when you can be able to nurture them to be the best version of themselves. So this is something that I'm really passionate about. It's unfortunate that even right now, when you talk about 2027,
right,
we can already tell the drums of war already, they've already started beating.
right.
But we need to do a lot in terms of just changing the mindset of people and ensuring that let us not go back to what happened in 2007, but at least let us learn from the mistakes, and also let us ensure that we do better. Once we know better, we do better.
Right. Wow. I mean, I didn't realize that the post-election violence affected you that directly. And that's 20 years ago. You must have been very
Yes,
young.
yes. I was in 2007. I was in Form 1.
You were in Form 1.
Yes.
Wow.
And even in this journey, it even became worse. When now everything became so bad in Eldoret. My parents are we have a home back in Bungoma. So one of our neighbors had taken their kids back to Kitale. So on the way, there were so many roadblocks. Young people had put so many roadblocks. So what he did is he changed so much money into 50 shillings notes. So whenever he'd go to these roadblocks, he'd give them money, So it passed there. So he took the family there. He came back to Eldoret. He told my dad about this. So my dad was like, okay, let us do this. Let us go to Bungoma. At least there we are safe, and at least it's our home.
Yeah.
So that was another journey. So unfortunately, in my family, I'm the darkest. So yeah, every person in my family is very light skinned. So people used to think that we are Kikuyus. So I'm the second born, and now my sister is the first born. But now, luckily, she had just turned 18, so she had just taken her ID. So when now we decided to now travel back to Bungoma, we got these very many roadblocks. And whenever we just get to a roadblock, you just see a roadblock, but you don't see people. But whenever you just approach the roadblock, that's where now you see young people coming with all these crazy crude weapons, pangas, clubs, spears, and what have you. So they come, they look at my family, then they look at my sister, she's the youngest, then they're like, when Jerry toka inje. They were just ready to kill any person who's Kikuyu.
Yeah.
But now the beauty about now my sister having an ID, she would show her ID, we give them some money and pass. So you can imagine the kind of trauma we went through. Not just seeing whatever happened, but also just the fact that you know that anytime you can lose a family member, or anytime you can just lose your property. It was really crazy. So for me, this is something that I'm really passionate about, because I'm trying to see how can we be able to use technology, to be able to bring about better leadership. Because we've used the different methodologies before. Yes, some have worked, most have not worked.
Yeah.
But you see now, with the advent of technology, we cannot ignore technology. We need to use whatever we have and the current emerging technologies to be able to ensure that we bring about value-based leadership, but also be able to protect and promote democracy here in Kenya and also in Africa.
That is such noble work you're doing, and really just born out of your own real experiences. And that's what I'm saying more and more, even with the people that are coming to this platform. They really are speaking a lot from the experiences that they have gone through. And I don't think there's any better way to make a difference when it's really, you're drawing it from your own personal experience. You're doing such an amazing job. And so I know that in your space, you work with women, you work with young people, you work with people with disabilities. But today, our conversation, I wanted to really zero in on young people, such a very powerful voice in our generation, and we cannot ignore it. But then I think with young people, there's a lot of challenges that they are facing. So let's start there and see what are these challenges that they are going through, and is it affecting their mental health?
Yeah, okay. I think, let me just talk a bit about some of the pressures that these people are going through. Maybe being in the digital space, maybe I can start with that. As you've seen of late, there's been, the advent of social media, especially, it has really brought about digital pressure. Being able to compare whatever you're doing with others, being able to compare your financial status with others. It has really brought about pressure. There's so much cyberbullying. You post a picture, people just bully you, they abuse you. We've seen cases of people even committing suicide just because of some of this digital pressure. We've even had people talk about platforms like LinkedIn. There are people that go to LinkedIn to be able to showcase what they've done. Many people on LinkedIn showcase their successes, but also they don't show the failures and some of the journeys that they've gone through. And even sometimes talking to people, especially young people in the universities, one thing that I always encourage them is ensure that at least you join LinkedIn, because that's where you get to connect with people. That's where you get to get job opportunities and what have you. But I realize that many of them, because they probably don't have anything to post, being a student, you're just in school. If you're not really proactive, that's all you do. But we have also other people who are doing other things on the side, helping out in volunteering and what have you. So, they might have things to post. So if probably you join LinkedIn and you see that your peers are maybe going for events, doing what, and you're just there, it brings about some sort of pressure. So yeah, digital pressure is one. Two, we can talk about academic and career pressure. We've seen there's been so much uncertainty right now in with education. There's the funding. There's with the funding model. There's an issue, and we even right now people talk about Kuinama, where even students don't even have money to pay for food. It's really bad for them.
Really.
And even this brings about even the economic constraints. Cost of living, unemployment, financial instability. Talking to young people, you realize that even when it comes to even education, they'd rather even just stay at home or do one or two things than join school or do some of these things. It's really bringing so much pressure to them. And also we also have even global crises. We are having burnouts, climate anxieties, political instability. We are having wars here and there. There's so much misinformation. You don't know what to follow or what to take in and what not to take in. There's so much societal polarization. So these are things that are really pressuring young people right now. And I feel like it might get worse, yes, but also with proper guidance and just working with these young people, I feel like we have so much that we need to do for us.
Okay. And so in terms of mental health, what you have really talked about are the realities, the comparison. Yep. I teach at the university, so the Kuinama is a reality. I hear my students talk about Kuinama. Leo nimeinama. What does that mean? Just unpack for people what that
means. You see, in fact, to history of Kuinama, I was on Friday. I was invited for a women empowerment program where we are having we're talking to young women in universities. And we were really laughing about this. Like, I asked one of the ladies, Shainama, she was like, no. Then one, have you ever? She was like, yes. So, Kuinama is basically when you're so hungry that you just hold your stomach and you lie on it, just to help you not to feel as hungry as you'd have felt.
Yeah.
So I think that is just a better way of me explaining what Kuinama is.
Yeah, and it's so real. I mean, when you think about it, you're so hungry that all you can do is bend over and hold your stomach, and it's such a reality, an everyday reality for a lot of young people. So, last year, 2024, and this year, there's been a lot of conversations, the Gen Zs going out, Mandamano, and all that. And of course, I am a Gen X, and from sometimes a Gen X perspective, it's so easy to dismiss and say, these are just spoiled kids, young people who do not have anything else to do. And yet there are realities out there that you are advocating for. So just school us a little bit about some of these myths and misconceptions about Gen Zs that you would like to challenge for parents and communities out there.
Maybe before I get there, I'll maybe talk about the protest and what we were able to do in terms of Uamuzi. Yeah. So with my journey with Uamuzi, I failed twice in the process, and the third time I was now releasing the platform was early last year. Mm-hmm. So back then, people were, I was telling guys that we are building a platform where we just want to ideally bridge the gap between our leaders and the young people. Ensure that they can, we can see what they're doing in terms of development and what have you, in terms of legislation, and also just keeping them accountable in terms of their manifestos. But people are like, we don't really need this platform. So now when this was like back in 2017, 2018. But now when I released the platform early last year, guys are like, hey, by the way, I think you are ahead of time with this project. So when the Mandamano started, we took advantage of our platform to really educate people about some of those controversial clauses that were in the finance bill.
Okay.
And that time X and TikTok, they were really big in that's where people were really using the platform people are using for engagement. But now the fact that now Kenyans were able to know that there's a Kenyan made platform for Kenyans to be able to make more informed decisions, people really loved it. And we also got a feature from Citizen. And when we got that feature, it was a 4.5 minute feature. And in those 4 minutes, we got more than 2,000 users on our app, just organic. Yeah. And what I realized is not only did we get young Kenyans within our borders, but we also got signups from even Kenyans from outside the country. So we had signups from the US, UK, Dubai, and other countries. So people are really happy in terms of just having a platform where they can get to understand what, we had really tried to break down the finance bill as Uamuzi, but also we had started getting other people who do civic education, sign them up on our platform, give them a verification so that they can also ensure that they disseminate those information on, and especially things that things different from what we were doing. So we did a lot of education. It was so amazing. This year we also did a lot of civic education, even in terms of just organization of the protests, people using social media, and also just knowing that also people used our platform for this. It was really heartwarming. And what I realized is, one, there's a myth about Gen Z being lazy. People say Gen Zs are lazy, Gen Zs are lazy.
Yeah.
But what they don't know is these people are really resourceful. These people, they have an entrepreneurial mindset. At the same time, they're driven with purpose. Because you see, even for us, let me say for us millennials and Gen Z, you see, for our parents, because them growing up, they did school, then after school, got a job and started a family. But you see, for us millennials and Gen Z, us, we are seeing things differently, because us, you'd rather take that risk and create employment than going through the system, just doing the norm, because now this is what your parents did, you have to go through the same thing. No, for us, we've realized that, we can do things different. And this being different, sometimes even for the older people, it might look like being defiant, but you see, even sometimes just having your own voice and standing up for yourself, it's something that was not inculcated in us growing up. So when they see you doing things different, and you see, especially with now technology, with the tech and with social media, you can be able to get to understand what other people are doing in other parts of the world. You don't really have to just follow, what your tribe or your community or your country does, but you can be able to borrow from what other people are doing and just ensure that you can also come and use it here. Also, another thing is, people always say that Gen Zs are always on their phones. But you see, they don't know that Gen Zs and millennials, for us, we grew up with the technology. And maybe for the older generation, they might not see the essence of technology, because these are things that they got to understand or use later on in life. But you see, for us, people who've grown up with some of these things, we are using technology right now for activism. Right now, when you go on TikTok, people are using it for activism. If you want to push for an agenda, use these social media platforms. Right now, learning is online. You can ideally just learn from wherever you are. You can build communities, you can build your followers online. And also, right now, even when you talk about civic participation, who never thought that civic participation will move from people meeting physically to now, people meeting in digital tools. So these are some of the myths that come with misconceptions about Gen Z. And also, they also say that Gen Zs are very too sensitive. You cannot tell them this. You need to moderate how you talk to them. But the reality about this is we are very empathetic. We are very outspoken. We like challenging harmful norms. We just like doing things differently. Just they say you cannot use the same methods and expect different results. So we're just trying to see how can us young people, Gen Zs and millennials, use different methodologies, but at the same time just ensure that we have the same collective goal. Yeah, so that is just a brief about that.
Yeah, and I just want to pick out on the empathy aspect. That's something I have really seen, communities of young people coming together to support, even when, whether it is those who have been thrown into jail because, just mobilizing legal support, mobilizing to visit a parent of one of you who is unwell. I think yesterday I saw on social media, there was a whole trip going, where were people going to Odaya, Yeah. And so I see that empathy, and we don't really, we may choose to see the violence and the outspokenness and sometimes the very vulgar language that is used out there. It's one thing, we may choose to see that, but also from a bigger picture, I really have seen those communities of support from a place of empathy, and it's just good to be able to shed light. The other thing I think I know could be a myth is that Gen Zs are resilient. They are not resilient. They're not resilient. They give up easily and all. So just paint a picture for us there and tell us, what does resilience really show up most strongly in the Gen Z, among the Gen Zs?
For me, I always tell people, you don't just put a whole generation in the same basket.
Right.
You see, like for example, myself, the two times that I failed, I realized that one of the reasons why I failed is because I didn't have an engineering academy. I didn't have my core engineering team.
Okay.
And so what I decided to do is I decided to build an engineering academy.
Mm-hmm.
So just going around to scout for very good engineers in the universities and colleges.
Mm-hmm.
Universities and colleges right now, who are you talking about? Gen Zs. So most of my developers, most of my engineers are Gen Zs. And one thing I can assure you is these people are hardworking.
Yeah.
Like with our engineering academy, what we do is we normally have our whole weekly meeting, and other than that, we've now divided the team into different departments, and we have different meetings in other days of the week. And one thing I can assure you is, one, these people will show up and they'll show up on time. So I feel like it's all about a person. Judge a person by their own character, other than you judging the whole community or a whole generation. So for me, what I can say is, having experience work with these people, I've worked with them for a while, and what I can say is they're very resilient, they are very focused, they are always ready to ask questions, they're always having a mindset of thinking outside the box, which you always don't have to tell people this is the same routine. But at least with Gen Z, they'll always ask you questions, and they're always curious to get to know more, to get to learn more. And just sometimes you get some of them who just ask you, I don't want money. Me, I just want to come and learn. I just want to come and learn from you. You get some of them who just want to come on board for mentorship. So for me, what I can say is I've been able to work with a very different side of Gen Z compared to those who say that Gen Zs are lazy and whatever. But for me, what I can say is these are the best. Yeah, it's just the best generation. Having these are people who really understand technology. So even if you decide to even automate your systems and talk about things to do with even online meetings and whatever, it's easy for you to work with Gen Zs other than working with older people. It will take you time for you to train them and show them how to do things. But for Gen Z, they are chap quick to just pick up things and move.
Yeah, I have experienced that as well. And that's why I also get so much drawn to the younger generation, because there's so much to learn, keeps me on my toes. And I know that there are many adults who would like to better support your generation, but there's all these mindsets that we are trying to burst, and the myths that we're trying to burst. So how then can we, the older generation, better support, better understand young people? What can we do?
I think what I can say is for parents, I think the biggest thing is listen first. Just listen to your kids. Listen to what they are saying. Don't force things on them. Yeah, understand them. Don't judge them. Just have an open mindset for you to be able to listen to them and get to understand where they're coming from. That is one. Two, I think that parents should be very, very, very present. Living at a time where the cost of living is so high, so parents are prioritizing making money or making a living over their children. I think that parents should be present. Just ensure that you create time for your kids. For me, I'm not a parent yet, but this is a journey that I'm really looking forward to. I can't wait to have kids. I can't wait to experience this side of life. I always tell people this, and they look at me like, are you serious?
But because a lot of the young people, that generation, they're like, what do you fear? God, hot porridge, and marriage.
Yes. yes. But for me, this is something that I really look forward. I can't wait to start this journey. I feel like there'll be so much growth. There'll be so much to learn. Just how starting a family, ensuring, knowing that this is your bloodline, and also just having someone on your side to support you, to encourage you, to give you the to be a cheerleader. This is a side of life that I'm really looking forward to. So back to what we were talking about, just being present. Also for me, this is one thing that I will make sure that I'll make sure that I do, just being present for my kids, and just ensuring that probably when they wake up, when they sleep, at least they are able to see you build that relationship with them. And even for me, talking from experience, my parents, especially my dad, he never really he was present. He's been present in my life, but I feel like I didn't get to really connect with him when I needed to. Just growing up, wanting to. There's some talks that you need a father to do that for you.
Yeah.
And for me, I felt like my dad was really never there. He provided everything and anything, but I feel like that presence was never there. So for me, what I'll do is I ensure that at least I do different. Also, with that, for the parents, also normalize mental health care. Just therapy, take maybe your kids for therapy, open conversations with them, wellness practices, maybe just, after church, just going out with them. You don't just have to hang out at home, just having a different environment for that. I feel like that is something that also parents should prioritize. Then just bridge the gap, just to ensure that you learn more about Gen Z's habits and, just learning on how you can be able to also, be different and just ensure that you support them. Yeah, so that is the advice I can give parents.
Okay. And on the side of the young people, what do you think they can do to better bridge that gap? Because I know it has to be two sides.
Yeah. I think for the kids or for Gen Zs, what I can say is just trust your parents, just be close to them, just be friends with your parents. Ensure that your parents are your safe space, your safe haven, and just talk anything and everything. It's only through talking that you'll be able to build relationship, because communication is key. And just talk. Yeah.
Yeah, just it makes a difference to open up and be real about where you are. And definitely it's a two-way street. There's as they are talking, like you said, again, the parents to offer a safe space as well, so that communication channel is open. And the other thing, I mean, because now we are talking about advocating for human rights, for justice and all that, what would you tell young people? Because it can be very tiring, it can be very exhausting. We're still dealing with the gatekeepers, the decision makers are still my generation or the older generation. It's very easy to give up. What hope and encouragement can you give young people?
What I can say is just keep doing what you're doing. It might not make sense now, but one day it will make sense. Let's there's been this myth where people have been saying that young people cannot do anything in terms of governance and what have you, especially here in Africa.
Yeah.
But the last 2 years has really shocked us. One, we've been able to see the kind of protests that have happened in Africa. Like, young people are really woke. Two, we've been able to see young people really hungry for change. Like they give a leader one term, a chance, just one term. If you can't deliver in one term, you're gone. You see, I was very happy with what happened with Malawi, because you see, his president was so sure that he was going to go back, to a point that he had even printed the inauguration cards. Like, he was so ready for that. Yeah. So you see now, young people have come out and they've shown, we are not just doing things the way things have been done in the past. So what I can encourage young people is, it might not happen now, but change will come, and change has to start with me and you. And in terms of governance, we have to make better informed decisions. We have to vote in value-based leaders. Don't vote in someone because of the kind of money they're bringing in, or the kind of last name they have, or the kind of relationship you have, but vote these people in based on what they're bringing on board. So let us just do things different, and eventually change will come.
It will. And I know, sometimes we look at change in terms of the tangible results, but change is happening even now. And I think it's important for us to see that. There's a quote that I love, and I use it in every space. You don't judge your day by the harvest you see, but you judge your day by the seeds that you are sowing. And so I think that is something across the board, whether you're clamoring for change in terms of governance, or activating for rights, and, or even in parenting, in any other space, it's important that we actually look at it from a place of, what seed am I sowing? So as we're coming to the end of this, with all the incredible work that you're doing, any last words of encouragement or hope that you can give both parents and young people?
Better days are coming.
Better days are coming.
Yes, better days are coming. That's all I can say.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
That is very hopeful. That is very hopeful. We need that, and we need to hear that. Thank you
You
so
see,
much.
funny thing is, people always tell me that I'm very hopeful. Yeah, anytime, even when probably be watching a football match and you're losing terribly, you're still hopeful, like, something might happen.
Yeah.
And for me, I know, if you're intentional about change, it will happen.
Yeah.
And yeah, we just have to encourage every single person, just do your best and let God do the rest.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. We need every hopeful energy we can get especially in the space that you are in. And hope is contagious. So I am glad that you're bringing hope into your space, Elvis. And thank you so much for sharing your story and the incredible work you're doing at Uamuzi Foundation. And you have reminded us that better days are coming. That is something to hold on to as we move forward. And for those who are watching this and listening to this, we will have Elvis' contacts as part of the summit's resources. And so just look out for his contacts and the amazing and incredible work that he's doing. Thank you so much, Elvis. We're really glad to have you as part of the summit.
Yeah, and last thing, what I can tell your amazing viewers, uamuzi ni wako. Just ensure that make informed decision, and decision starts with you. So uamuzi ni wako.
Uamuzi ni wako. Thank you. There's no better way to end this conversation. Asante sana, Elvis.
Thank you too.